exciting episode of Myth Magick. We're going to be discovering the truth about Battleship North Carolina. When the battleship was commissioned in 1941, it was the first of its kind to be created in 16 years. It was used to fight in World War II, and then it was decommissioned in 1947. The memorial was dedicated in April of 1962, and it's been open to the public ever since as a reminder of all those who fought in World War II and lost their lives. Rumor has it that many of them still haunt the ship.
In total, around 10 men lost their lives on this ship, 5 as a result of a torpedo hit on the port side of the ship underneath the waterline. It's believed that 2 or more of these soldiers still haunts this ship. A young blonde man has been seen in the passageways along with another spirit that makes itself known by looking through the portholes. TVs have been known to be turned off. You'll hear somebody walking behind you when there's no one there. Guests have reported lights turning on and off on their own, along with doors and ports opening and closing on their own. They've heard people talking behind them or people yelling behind them when there's no one else there. There have been reports of feeling cold spots throughout the ship, and it is very hot down there. There have been reports of people hearing footsteps behind them, and there's no one else there, amongst all kinds of other spooky events. All throughout the ship, they had crew memories posted, which made the whole entire trip very personal, where you could read all of their experiences here in this place. Going downstairs, the energy very much shifted. It felt very heavy, very claustrophobic, and not even really because of all the equipment. It was just a very invasive feeling, like you were being watched, kind of. And you definitely didn't feel alone. As I made my way through this ship, I couldn't imagine what it would have been like to have served during this time with these men. I couldn't imagine the thoughts that they had carried with them throughout this journey, and it was just a very humbling place to be. I get the feeling that an experience here at night below the deck would be absolutely otherworldly. Hearing somebody call for you down here would send chills through me. It was absolutely spooky down there.
I'm crawling up into the ship. This is a turret gun that we're inside of here, which is insane to think about how many men it took to run this thing. Check it out. So creepy. Ryan comes up from the hole. I feel like it's a very congested energy, and that's not even to say just like with all the equipment around. Like if I use my senses to kind of tune in, it just feels very hectic, like, and chaotic, especially the lower that you go. It just feels unstable. Does that make sense to you? As somebody that's not very spiritual, like, what's the difference there?
I just know that this place, I'm kind of claustrophobic, not really.
Yeah.
But it's a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot going on here for sure.
The boat itself, besides holding space for machinery, holds a dining hall. I think there's actually 2 or 3 dining halls. It's a pretty big space. And so they'd put the food out here. a very, very large kitchen to support lots of people. What I imagine is a detaining office where they would hold troublemakers for a night or two. There were just a couple bunks here, along with an officer's little desk space. There were some little stores where soldiers could buy like cards and games and candies and things like this that would make them feel a lot more home here on the ship. And it was actually very comforting to see something like this, hoping that they, had some sense of normalcy on their time spent here. This is where the bunks were, and they would have them pulled down with mattresses. It was very tight fit, there's not a lot of space here, so I imagine that sleeping here would have been very uncomfortable. This room I had to peek through one of the ports to see was an office where they would have important conversations. It's where a lot of the higher-ups would stay. And then the restrooms, reportedly, you hear people in. It's all very creepy here. There's some more of the bunks. I took some photos for you. And the hospital was the absolute scariest part of the entire ship to me. There were horror stories on the walls of the things that were endured there that just sent chills through my body. We decided to explore the upper deck to see some of the machinery that they would have utilized, and this boat felt like a maze. It just keeps going and going and going, and there's lots of weird little halls that veer off, and it just feels like a maze on water. Do I believe the ship is haunted? Absolutely. If you guys have any of your own stories from the battleship, I would love to hear them in the comments below. I believe that this place is definitely notoriously haunted for a reason. She is one spooky beast, and I cannot wait to come back one day with the REM pod and have a Battleship North Carolina round 2. And until then, we'll see you guys here for another episode of Myth Magick on A Piece of My Heart, and I look forward to it. Thank you guys for watching.